Dear experts, ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to address you at this important event to shed light on the need for increased protection of the Rohingya in Myanmar. Please allow me to start by thanking the Women's Peace Network for the invitation, and in particular, Ms. Wairimu, founder and executive director of the Women's Peace Network. Today, we discuss a pressing and urgent topic, one which I have addressed multiple times in the recent past. And just a few weeks ago, through a joint statement issued with the Special Advisor on the Responsibility to Protect regarding the escalation of violence in Myanmar. In that statement, issued on 29th July, we expressed our shared concern about the increase of violence and conflict across Myanmar, with indications that serious crimes under international human rights and humanitarian law continue to be committed. We also raised the alarm to the fact that despite provisional measures ordered by the International Court of Justice in January 2020, the Rohingya in Myanmar, including women and children, continue to suffer from targeted killings and indiscriminate violence, including by airstrikes, shelling, burning, landmines, and unexploded ordnance. It is my goal today to reiterate these concerns and continue to raise the alarm to the international community about the situation of the Rohingya in Myanmar, as well as the need for increased protection mechanisms and preventive actions aimed at addressing the vulnerability of this group. It is also essential to work towards ensuring a political solution that results in the full protection of all civilians in the country. Indeed, it is my role as a Special Advisor on the Prevention of Genocide to monitor, raise the alarm, and alert the Secretary General over situations where there is a risk of genocide or related crimes. Please allow me to recall that my mandate is on prevention, not on adjudication. And I often must emphasize that I do not have the mandate to make a determination if a particular situation amounts to genocide or other related crimes. This is the mandate of judicial institutions with the relevant jurisdiction. So that being said, as I mentioned, I am mandated to raise the alarm when risk factors and indicators of the risk of genocide are present in a specific situation, as a means to exercise early warning and call for effective and timely prevention responses. These risk factors and early warning indicators can include situations of armed conflict or prolonged violence, political and economic instability, a record of serious violations of international human rights and humanitarian law, widespread mistrust in or weak state institutions, and increased inflammatory rhetoric, propaganda campaigns, or hate speech targeting protected groups or individuals. So, esteemed colleagues, as of today, more than 3.2 million people have been internally displaced, with young people, boys and girls, reported to be leaving Myanmar, trying to avoid conflict and enforce military conscription. So I would like to reiterate concerns raised by the High Commissioner for Human Rights in his statement to the Human Rights Council on 18th June, which describes serious allegations of targeted violence against the Rohingya by both the Arakan Army and the armed forces. The Rohingya have suffered decades of discrimination, dehumanization, deprivation of their identity and of their basic rights. The extreme violence witnessed in 2017 against the Rohingya, in which they were killed, tortured, raped, and burnt alive, much of which was preceded by hate speech and actions aimed at humiliating the members of this community, all of this on no other basis than their identity. This should never be forgotten. In April 2022, following my visit to Cox's Bazar, Bangladesh, I issued a statement noting that since the 2017 violence against the Rohingya in Rakhine State in Myanmar, the risk of genocide facing this population in their home country remains unchanged. Today, I'm appalled to say that the Rohingya continue to be one of the most vulnerable communities in the world. I'm thus concerned with the continued use of hate speech to fuel ethnic tensions between the Rohingya and Arakan communities with a view to exacerbate inter-ethnic polarization. Similar hate speech campaigns were used by the military against the Rohingya in the lead up to the 2017 violence, which has been documented by the fact-finding mission on Myanmar and the independent investigative mechanism for Myanmar. This must stop now. We cannot once again fail the Rohingya community and allow for the extreme violence of 2017 to repeat itself. As we focus today on the importance of early warning and early prevention, I would like to reiterate my calls to the Myanmar military to refrain from using, to address, and to counter hate speech and prevent incitement to discrimination, hostility, or violence against minorities, as well as to prevent and protect the entire civilian population from and against genocide and all other international crimes, regardless of religion, ethnicity, origin, gender, or political affiliation. It is essential as well that the Myanmar government put in place all possible measures to prevent violations of human rights and international humanitarian law, ensure the protection of all groups at risk across the country, and uphold the provisional measures ordered by the International Court of Justice in 2020 in relation to the members of the Rohingya group on the territory of Myanmar. It is also paramount to foster an inclusive and comprehensive national political dialogue and reconciliation process with the full participation of all ethnic groups, including the Rohingya and other minorities in the country. Root causes need to be addressed, including guaranteeing definite citizenship and other rights to the Rohingya community in Myanmar, as well as ensuring accountability for past crimes. Strong support is also essential for all international mechanisms that can play a prevention role in the country. This includes the International Criminal Court and the Independent Investigative Mechanism for Myanmar, whose key contribution in fighting impunity in the country can be instrumental to prevention. The need for justice and our collective action remains as urgent as ever before. The international community needs to do more to ensure that the Rohingya are not forgotten. The Rohingya have already suffered some of the worst violations imaginable. We cannot fail them again. Thank you.